Hello there, I'm Lindsay Jane Hunter and I'm making this video for the Creative Therapeutic Services at Murray Hall. And so today's video is about how to make these amazing salt jars. So you should be able to see there all the different colours inside the jar. And there's another one there as an example. And we're going to make these today. This is one of my favourites. So what you're going to need is an empty jar. Doesn't really matter what it was from, just make sure it's really clean, and definitely make sure you've taken the label off before you start. So otherwise it's going to be really hard to do at the end. So an empty jar, a massive thing of salt. This is the thing you might need to get whenever you're going out for essentials. You can get these in the supermarket, so about 20p. So massive thing of salt, just normal table salt, some sheets of paper. You're probably going to need about 6 sheets of paper. They can be scrap paper, they can be the backs of letters, they can be newspaper, it doesn't matter, it's just as a surface, but you're going to need a few sheets. And you're going to need chalks. So if you've got big chunky chalks, that's amazing. And if not, then these normal chalks are great too. Any chalk is fab, and you're going to want a few colours. Okay, so the first thing that you do, I'll put some paper underneath in case I spill salt everywhere. You take the lid off your jar and you pour the salt in. This is my favourite bit. And you just pour it in all the way to the top until the jar is completely full. And even when you think it's full enough, it's probably not. It should be like overflowing out the top, absolutely full to the brim. So you want to fill it all the way up. And then you're going to spread out all your sheets of paper. So you've maybe got 5, 6 sheets of paper, depends a bit how big your jar is. And you're going to pour the salt out until you've got none left in the jar into piles on the paper. It might be about that sort of size. So you should have then an empty jar and lots of sheets of paper with piles of salt on them. And you might need to spread out a bit on a table or on a floor. Okay. And then you're going to get your chalks and colour in the piles of salt. Like this. Makes a good noise. You have to colour quite hard for a while to get a really good colour. And I like to hold the chalk on its side because you get a bit more colour than holding it like a pen. You colour it in. And the more you do, the brighter the colour of the salt will go. You'll be able to see it starting to mix in. So you'll see there that this salt has gone quite blue now. Hopefully you can see that. You can do that with all the different piles in different colours. And you can mix the colours too. So if you really want purple, but you haven't got a purple chalk, you could get your blue and your red and colour in both, and the salt will go a purpley colour. So that's quite cool. So what you can do when you're colouring in your salt and when you're choosing your colours is you can choose colours that remind you of things that you are really proud of about yourself. Things that you like about yourself, things that you work hard at, things that you are really glad are part of who you are, and you can kind of use those colours to represent those things about you. So you might say, oh, I've got blue because I'm really, really good at listening to my friends when they need somebody to talk to. And so I'm using blue to represent my good listening and to remind me that I'm a good listener. Or you might say, I'm going to choose red because I'm really funny and I'm good at making people laugh. And so red is going to be my colour that reminds me that I'm funny. And you might want to write those colours down somewhere to remind you. Or you could write them down on little tiny bits of paper and you could hide them in the salt. So there's secret messages inside your jar. And that would be another thing you could do. So then what you do, once you've got all your colours and you've thought about what the colours represent for you, is you get your salt jar and you just kind of pick the paper up like this and you pour the colours back in. So you can do like all your blue, all your red, all your yellow in like big chunks, or you can do like a bit of blue, a bit of red, a bit of yellow and get lots more layers. That's completely up to you. And there's different ways you can do this. So you can pour kind of in one edge and then pour another bit in a different direction. And if you do it like that, what you'll start to get is kind of layers where the different colours all make different layers, and it will look a bit like this one at the end where you've got kind of different layers of different colours. Or if you want them to be in flat layers, after you put one in, you can give the jar a little tap and it will flatten it out. And then you put the next one in, give it a little tap, flatten it out, and you'll get kind of flatter layers, more like this one or this one. So once you've put all your salt back in and you've got beautiful colours, you want to make sure it's full right to the very top again. So if you've lost some salt along the way and it's not full to the very top, just pour a bit more in. You can colour a bit more if you want, or you can pour some white in at the top so it's absolutely full. And the reason that's important is to make sure that all the salt doesn't move around inside the jar, because you'd lose all your beautiful patterns. So you need to make sure that it's absolutely full so it can't sugar about. And then you put the lid back on, and then you will have a beautiful salt jar that you can look at and remember all the things about you that you've put into that jar. And you could, if you wanted to, use a permanent marker to write those things or draw them on the jar. So this one, I've written on there, unique, creative, brave, funny, kind, and I've also decorated the lid of that one. So you could do that if you wanted to. You could write on the outside or decorate the outside to make it even more beautiful and personal for you. Or you could make one as a present for somebody else and write all the things on the outside that you've chosen the colours for that you love about them too. That would be a really lovely, kind thing to do. So these are beautiful salt jars. And if you make one, I would love to see a picture and see what colours you chose and why you chose them. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Have a wonderful day.